The working classes are not really represented anymore in cinema in the right way. You're not allowed to swear at all. I think they could probably do with a couple of years on a council estate like me, get them a bit streetwise again. Bring your mates, bring your missus.
Mm-hmm. Bring your nan.
Bring your nan.
Roll
your nan in.
Yeah, why not?
But don't bring your kids.
Guys, how are we doing? Congratulations on the movie.
Thank you.
Very proud of it.
So let's get straight to Nick Love, jumping back into this world. How has this come together after all this time? Has this been like an itch you've been wanting to scratch for a few years? What's the story there?
Well, I've learnt today, actually, it's been 18 years since me and Nick worked together, so that's nearly 2 decades. I just can't believe that. And I always felt there was unfinished business with me and him. And obviously, our careers went in different ways as life takes a grip. And, you know, I made some bad decisions in my life. I'll be the first to hold my hands up to that. I ended up, you know, going into a soap, which is something I thought I never would. And I learnt a lot about myself, and it was a tough gig, but, you know, it came to an end, and I came out, and Nick was one of the first people to call me, you know, because he was really excited about trying to make this movie, and it was something that he said he couldn't do without me, and I was like, wow, this is music to my ears. So we just got back on the old saddle, and it's been amazing. You know, he's very important to me in my life, very special man, someone I love and respect, and, you know, I've said this many times, his brain, my mouth. You know, he writes stuff that comes out of my mouth. I spew it out quite elegantly.
Do you think there's like on the side a bit of a yearning for these sort of movies again? I mean, they were all the rage like 20 years ago. I had Football Factory on like DVD. I think I also had like Green Street, the poor cousin of Football Factory on there, and the Firm, The Business, and all these kind of movies. And we kind of look at it now from like 2025's perspective. They cover it in the film how we look at it with suspicion now of like, oh, there's a bygone era, can't do that, can't say that, we're past it.
That's why this is clever, because we're actually acknowledging it. We're not sneering at it, but we're doing this in it's comedy, it's funny. Yeah. And we're laughing at masculinity and how ridiculous it can be.
I think it's good timing as well. I think I think people are ready for it. I feel like, you know, in a very sort of filtered world at the moment, you know, something like this you don't get to see on telly, let alone the cinema. You know, to something like this to get out in the cinema, I think, you know, it's such a unique piece. It's
a coincidence in the sense of the Oasis are getting back together the same year as the release of this film. Because that's nostalgia. That was a culture, and it's gone away for a long time. And, you know, for some reason we're both, you know, coming out at the same time, and it's exciting times, and I'd like to think that the working classes are not really represented anymore in cinema in the right way. And this is honest, and I like what Nick, he pulls no punches. He's not apologetic about some of his dialogue, and that's important. Do
you think a lot of content's like watered down these days?
Well, I think there's a lot of boxes ticked, and people are so frightened about, because it is art in a sense. It's a slice of entertainment, so therefore you can go where you want with it. Of course, sometimes it's offensive, sometimes it isn't. But what we don't want is just safe. You know, I've got a bit of an issue around this trigger warning thing and all that. You know, I feel that in certain things it should maybe have a trigger warning, but in general I think we're all grown adults and we've all got a moral compass and we all know what we're getting into. I mean, if you're going to come and watch this, I think you know what you're getting into.
Yeah, the name tells you enough, I think.
You know,
it's true. Yeah.
Speaking of that, how did you find like jumping into this world? Because they probably have a bit of a language between you now.
It is a whole language actually. Sometimes, but do you know what? I've said it several times today, and it's truly like what made making this so special. I mean, I knew obviously, like I knew of Nick's work, and I had been desperate to work with him. Actually, I'd auditioned for him way back, and when I read the piece it felt like he'd come such a long way as well. The stuff that he's injected into this is just beautiful. But
Gilda run, believe you me.
But being on set with these guys, like literally, like every day was such a laugh. Like it just, I mean, the fun that was just in making it, not just what you see on screen, but just every day. It was just such a... And because it means so much to Nick, and these guys know each other so well, I think it all just came together and felt like it just was meant to be.
We're having a laugh, we'll make a film in between. That's always been the vibe,
and
really.
And he just enjoyed it. And everybody there was there because they wanted to be there and wanted to be part of something like this. And the fun, just the amount of fun we had making it.
Speaking of like fun, did it take a little time to kind of, you guys have got to be so free and easy, not just playing like a married couple, but the kind of the language of this. You probably have some of the best lines in the movie, in the insults.
Where do you get
stuff.
to kind of?
But do you have to like reprogram your brain almost to be like,
definitely,
this is fine to talk like this.
It was the hardest thing going home and switching off, because I was like, when I got home. And
dropping the C-bomb a lot
all the
indoors,
time.
you know,
even now.
and your man's like,
he feels
what?
so good, yeah.
Yeah, you did say that actually a couple of times. You went home and dropped the C-bomb and you shouldn't have done.
It felt so free and
It's about intent, that word, by the way. I understand it's offensive.
You can use it in so many ways.
We don't use it in an offensive way in this film. It's the way we talk to each other, and that's what I'm saying about the working classes.
It's their language of
representing,
love.
It is their language of love, and it's all done it's all done with love, you know. Look, for me, I'm sort of made a career out of swearing. Steph's a bit more classy, a bit more sophisticated.
Of course.
But you know, when we did our chemistry read, we was like, oh wow, she's just incredible. She's done her own work and she committed, and you've got to commit.
There's a lot of nostalgia in this movie, as we've touched on already. Was it an opportunity for you to kind of look back on some of those earlier roles? Was there anything that kind of stood out for you from those earlier movies that we associated the kind of breakthrough of Danny Dyer?
I think I've missed it, you know, and I'm a different man to I was then as well. I feel like I'm a slightly better actor. I think I've learned a lot more about myself. I've had a lot of therapy and stuff, a lot of soul searching, and so I missed it. And I think because I was in a soap for so long, which is sort of, pre-Watershed, you're not allowed to swear at all. I missed that dialogue, and I missed Nick's writing. It was interesting because I was still in Eastenders when I got sent the original script, and I remember I was sitting in the Vic and the stairs at the back reading it, going, I miss this so much, this sort of dialogue, this naughty, just on the edge, but funny with it, you know. It really made me crave it somewhat, you know. So, yeah, it's been great. It's been beautiful. I really hope people get this film and go and watch it. You know, we're rolling the dice with this. You could have made this film like a lot of people and then had a bid off between Netflix and Amazon and played safe, because it's not really about how many people watch it then, but this is about trying to get people back in the cinema to watch a film about working class people and have a laugh. Bring your mates, bring your missus.
Mm-hmm. Bring your nan.
Bring your nan.
Roll
your nan in.
Yeah, why not?
But don't bring your kids.
Bring my nan back to life. Bring her down that killer again, I think.
Get your nan involved in your granddad. You know, it's a family affair. Yeah. So, you know, let's celebrate being working class and let's do it in a working class way, you know.
Finally, I wanted to touch on this, actually, because I came from a very working class northern family, but I spent so long down in London and interviewing people. There's almost
you're now middle upper class.
There's almost like a disconnect now, in a way, if I go home. And I wondered, as actors, Danny, you've been so successful for so long, and we see you as this thing, and
sure,
assume there's still this great connection between you and where you come from and these characters you play. But how close are those two things now? Is it harder to connect now than it would have been 20 years ago, because you've been out of the world in a way?
I don't know really, because obviously, yes, I am still very much working class in the sense of my values and my roots, but I've earned a few quid, so I do wipe my arse with cinnamon toilet paper, which says to me I'm middle class. And my kids are very privileged. So I broke the mould, which is what you should do, isn't it? As parents, you want to give your kids a good life. That's what you do. But actually, I think they could probably do with a couple of years on a cancer estate like me, get them a bit streetwise again. But I like to think that I'm quite accessible to people, and I think that people, do approach me a lot on the streets because they feel that they can, and I like that. I'm not better than anybody else. I've got fame. I still can't quite nail down what fame is. It's not a tangible thing.
I think that's what's so lovable about Danny, is the fact that you're just the most grounded person, and you don't even know what sort of changed yourself. You're just there.
I can't.
It's not fake. It's not fake with Danny at all. I think
that's important, isn't it? Authenticity. Because there's a lot of fakeness around us, I feel. And
I think that's what people in fact, that's it. It's like what people gravitate towards. It's like somebody that is just real. Will just tell you it straight. It's just everything about you is real, and I just think that is really wanted at the moment. It's really needed. It's just we've lost that. We're all trying to fit a mould and trying to figure out, and everybody's a bit scared, and
we're all being asked to be moral robots and have the same sort of walk, and and actually what makes human beings so beautiful is that we are flawed.
Exactly.
And we have different opinions on life, and we all, at the moment, there's very much a lot of division in the world, and there's a lot of people clashing, and either you're extreme left or you're extreme right. You could, God forbid, you're a bit left and a bit right. You know what I mean? Because I think that's what I am. You know what I mean? I think that I'm learning every day still about parenting, and I'm a grandfather now of 3, and You know, Steph's got another child on the way.
Little one. It's not just the pies from Christmas.
It's not just the pies. Never mention anything. That's what
I know, no
never
one's
say
mentioned. I
anything
thought
until
I
they tell you.
should.
Well, if people want a bit of that authenticity, but also a bit of kind of nostalgic fantasy as well, then I think they'll get a kick out of this movie.
Good man.
It's time to dig out those VHSs I've got from
Yeah,
back in the
dig
day.
them out.
Yeah,
Get the old DVDs out.
Cheers, guys. Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Good luck
Lovely
with
to
it.
meet
Well,
you.
gentlemen.
Lovely
And
to meet you.
congratulations.
Thank you very much.